Mike Love. Local blow. Sip of water. Here we go. Yeah. We on air now. Turn it up, sit back, vibe out. New day, new talk, no doubt. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We on air now. Real life.
Welcome to the show, Miss Edith Johnson. She is the lead case manager at the Van Buren Family Shelter. Thank you so much for joining Expressions of a Hairstylist Off the Record. I am glad that you are here. I hope you are having a good day. Are you having a good day?
Yes, I'm having a wonderful day.
Good, good. I like to start off with just 20 or 30 seconds of exceptional customer service that you may have experienced like in the recently, something that stands out. I like to do this just because I don't know what it is, but I feel like customer service has become almost like a choice or a thing of the past, if you want to say. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to come by. Have you experienced any good customer service recently that you want to give someone a shout out to or recognize?
Well, I don't know the person's name, but we recently went to a restaurant, Golden Crow, everybody's favorite place. And the gentleman that we normally go and sit in his section, he is so diligent about and very attentive about all the people that he provides service to, making sure they get their drinks on time, making sure he's checking back with them and removing plates and things like that. And so his name is Ed. So we always go back and sit in Ed's section. And I believe Ed's been there for like over 10 years. And recently, I believe near Thanksgiving, celebrated his 85th birthday. I think, yeah, for him to still be doing that and still have that level of service to his customers.
That's awesome. But that just goes to show, I mean, shout out to Ed because he loves what he does.
Yeah.
And sounds like customers come back just to see Ed. I haven't eaten at Golden Corral in a long time, but sounds like I need to go visit Ed just because he's giving out such good customer service. There's a Kroger that I go to, a really, really nice lady there. She's so sweet. But I don't see her all the time. And I must always have the lost look face when I'm looking for something because I was looking for spices the other day and I didn't even know who was. She's like, ma'am, can I help you find something? I'm like, okay. And she walked around because she wasn't really sure where it was at. And we walked a couple aisles until she helped me find it. So I think it's important to give good customer service. So shout out to Ed and to Miss Christy at Kroger's. Miss Edie, you have been a lead case manager now at Van Buren for how long?
I have actually been in that position for almost 13 years. I started at the Van Buren in August of 2015 when they first opened the family shelter.
Everyone has like a first day story, right?
Yes.
Can you take us back to the very first time you walked into the shelter as a leader? What was like the one thing you saw or smelled or felt that made you realize, okay, this is going to be much harder or much different than what I expected?
Well, when I first started working at the Van Buren, I was originally hired for their housing locator. But my first day there, we were in this tiny like safety room. It was myself and 3 other case managers. And we did not have the traditional office where our clients could come and sit down in front of us. We actually we sat in chairs and, just rolled up on the side of their bed and met them right where they were. And so I remember when we had to transition the families over to where they're located now, and there was still caution tape across the elevator we was building beds, building cribs, building bunk beds, and all those different things. I can remember saying to myself, wow, this is really the open door to servitude, because it doesn't go straight into customer service. You have to really be built for service. And that was part of that service component, just to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to put a crib together today. I'm going to put 10 cribs and that's going to be the scope of my job for that day, and be okay with it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm not sure I would be able to put a crib together. And if I did, I mean, I would be concerned. Like, I want to make sure that these babies are going to be
Yes.
safe, So for you to have that skill and the mindset and the determination that before we even get to the customer part of it, we got to start from the ground up. So that's pretty awesome. You're right. That's more than great servitude when you have to do all the other things, just in traditional office, nothing fancy, nothing glamorous. That just goes to show for sure that your heart is definitely in it. And you're definitely, is that you need to see. We as people, we see people on the street and people out, but we don't see the people inside your walls, right? We don't see what you see. So who is the person or people that would most surprise listeners to find out is staying at your shelter or has stayed at your shelter?
Truthfully, your physician who probably wrote you a prescription last week, or a psychologist that someone might have um, got service a month ago, or maybe a nurse who took their blood pressure last week. I mean, homelessness is not just a particular person. Homelessness can meet anybody, anywhere, at any time. Each person has their own personal threshold, and where life push you to the end of that edge of that cliff, we don't know what psychological or emotional state that person will be in when they go over. And so I've had many, many people sit across my desk who were lawyers, who had their own law practices, who were doctors, who were nurses, and great professions, six-figure salaries, and something tragic happened in their life where it caused everything to unravel. It could be a death. It could be multiple deaths at one time that deplete someone's income. It could be anything that will cause someone to throw in the towel and say, you know what? I can't do this anymore, and I'm checking out. And so those are the people that I see every single day in the shelter. It's not one particular race. It's not one particular gender. One particular culture. I have a blended amount of individuals who come into Van Buren each and every day, and the level of service that we provide them is just as the next person. No one gets any more quality of a service as the next person that walked out my door and the next person that comes in.
Well, needless to say, this debunks the myth that it's due to poor choices, because for years I just personally believe this. I was a believer of this even growing up, because I heard it around family and friends, and they must have made bad choices, they must didn't manage their money correctly. It has nothing to do with any of that, and it is not always. In some cases it may be, but what your response just truly debunks the myth that it's every person that's homeless is because they made poor choices.
And that's not true.
Exactly. I figure. I hope that reaches people out there to let them know that that has nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your career or where you were. It can be anyone at any time. It doesn't matter. So thank you for that. Thank you for debunking that, because there are a lot of people who truly, as of right now we're speaking, they believe that it's the person's fault and that is due to poor choices. With all the people that you see, I'm sure you have to deal with such a high level of secondary trauma and constant crisis, right? How do you walk through your own front door at home and turn off all the stories of the dozens of people who are still or who may have been in crisis back at your shelter?
Truly, it really comes with a lot of prayer. It comes with a lot of um, personal, the personal ability to be able to separate the world that you leave behind at work and then walk back into the world of your day to day life. And I know when I leave my office that I have provided the best quality of service to my clients that I could possibly do. And also being able to empower our clients to be able to problem solve and to look at their situation not as a failure, but as a springboard to the next level or to next chapter in their life. That's the way. That's what gives me comfort. So when I walk out that door each day and they're waving and telling me to have a good night, I know that I have done something or said something that really shift your thought process into empowering them to do something different in their life. So when they leave out, they never come back. Mhm.
That's pretty awesome. And also, I love the saying, just because you fall down doesn't mean you failed.
Right.
You only fail if you stay down there. So thank you. I thank you. And I'm sure they thank you too for being able to pour into them. And then I'm sure it helps. I'm more than sure that it helps that they have somebody that believes in them, even when it feels like they don't believe in themselves. So it sounds like you're definitely giving that out. I'm more than sure that that would definitely have something to do with them feeling as if they can just keep going and they can, I came here, I did what I had to do, and now, I can jump into my next chapter and keep going. So
Yes.
that's awesome. Thank you for that. I mean, oof, that means a lot. I just don't think that sometimes I don't think people in the world just truly understand the things that people go through. I, for one, quick story. I was cutting hair for, I think at one point I may have come to Van
Mhm.
Buren as well, but I was cutting hair for an organization, and it was people from, like you said, all different backgrounds, all
Mhm.
different cultures, and listening to their stories, kind of had me a little shocked. Like, okay,
Yes.
well, this has nothing to do with anything, none of their bad choices, and they're relocating here, they're starting over, or the one guy that says, "Hey, I got a haircut, I got a car now, so give me your card, I'll be able to come to you to get my haircut. I'm going to be moving soon. I found an apartment." So it really is, a great thing to be able to pour into them and to see them be able to make it on their own. That's awesome. You know how movies and television, they always have this depiction of shelters that they're dangerous and they're chaotic. How do you cultivate a sense of home and dignity in a space that is by definition temporary and crowded?
At any point in time, Van Buren can have uh, close to 300 people. That's children and families. And Van Buren has been very diligent and very timely when it comes to trying to create a sense of what we call normalcy for the children. And what we do every month, the kids have, for those kids who have birthdays in that month, there's a family that kind of honors their daughter and bring in gifts for the kids, bring in cupcakes or cakes and presents and all those different things for birthdays, Christmas. My husband and I have volunteered as Mr. and Mrs. Santa for the past 7 years, and the kids are able to get presents from Mr. and Mrs. Santa, and the families through donations, community donations, they're able to shop in Santa's workshop. Now, I'm not talking about just one toy for. I mean, these families are able to shop and provide at least 6 toys for their kids, plus 2 outfits and some other things, and
That's
so many of the families just like, what, this is a blessing because I don't even know if I would have been able to do this for my kids, even if we were not in the shelter. So we have that. And then we have volunteers that come in and read bedtime stories, for the kids during quiet time. And, and so we have a number of programs and community partners that come in and say, we want to do something for the families, we want to do something for the kids. During Thanksgiving, there's a lot of churches that come in and provide a full spread Thanksgiving dinner to the guests at the shelter. So there's a lot of different. We just had the Easter egg hunt. There's so many different things that the shelter provide. So when you walk in there and you're a parent, yes, it's not your home traditionally, but it becomes a home in a sense of a different community. And we have found that many of those families create communities within a community. They now have met their surrogate mother, their surrogate grandfather, their surrogate sister or brother or aunts. And so they have now began to formulate communities within communities and families within the shelter. And where they might not have had a family before they came to the shelter, they have now connected with other individuals and built families within the shelter. And so if we did not, have that type of environment in order to foster that type of behavior, then yes, it would be a very dangerous place. Yes. Do things happen because of, large places? Absolutely. There's dangerous shelters in New York. But no, we have many safety mechanisms in place that protect not only our children, but all the families of Van Buren.
Unfortunately, when these movies depict all these, the negativity and it's dangerous, but it could be just dangerous riding on the highway of 70 West right here in the city of Columbus.
Yes.
So it's no more dangerous than anything else, a bus stop or anything else. So that's marvelous to hear that it's a community. They're building relationships and meeting new people. So yeah, so thank you for that. I think it's important that people know to stop assuming and stop believing everything that they see on television or hear in social media, because bad things can happen anywhere. But the good things that are happening at Van Buren, it sounds amazing. I mean, I would love to come and see you and Mr. Ron, is Edie's husband, dressed up as Mr. and Mrs. Claus. I did not know that.
Yes.
I don't want to miss that next year. And the fact that, I'm thinking, me as a parent, I was working 2 jobs and I don't even know. I'm like, there were some Christmases where it was like 4 items. This is, Merry Christmas, and we're gonna love on each other, and we're gonna enjoy Christmas with the real reason. So the fact that those kids get abundance of love. Can you tell us about a specific individual, whose journey kind of broke your heart when you met them, but who eventually found their way back, and what was the turning point for them?
Wow. I have so many, but I know one young lady. She came into shelter. It had to been about maybe 2017. I worked with this young lady. She had four children. They were small then, and she really felt like, you know what? I'm a failure to myself. I'm a failure to my children. And this is just the end. I can't believe, I'm in shelter. This is my first time. She had been going through some personal trauma and things like that. And I always have a personal conversation with my clients when I first meet them. It's never go straight to the paperwork and be all clinical and stuff. And this is what I train my other case managers to do. Have a sit down talk with them, build a relationship with them. And then they're able to kind of open up to you. But anyway, this young lady was very broken, didn't have left a DV situation. Ultimately, after about maybe 6 or 7 months, she had got a job and the kids were in school. We were having our weekly meetings, and she had gone back, got her GED, and and I had a rising star wall in my office, and I would kind of, celebrate their accomplishments and put it up on the wall and stuff like that. And so we got her house, and about maybe 5 or 6 years later, I look up and they're touring her in the building because now she had been hired as one of the employees at the YMCA.
That's awesome.
And so when she saw me and we kind of locked eyes, she just like grabbed me and just like broke in tears. She's like, Miss Edie, she said, "You would not allow me to give up. I still hear your voice in my ear say, failure is not an option. Get up, cry, but get up. Do it afraid." And she is still an employee at the YMCA now, and she tells all the clients that come in there. She asked them, "Who is your case manager?" And it's like, "Oh, Miss Johnson." And she was like, "One thing is for certain, she's not going to allow you to give up, but she's going to push you as hard as she can so you can get out of here."
That is so like moving because as a parent,
Yes.
I remember having that failure feeling. Like
Yeah.
it could just tear you down. It could
Yes.
just tear you down. I didn't do this. I couldn't do that. I couldn't afford to do this. I
Yes.
couldn't send them to this school. I couldn't send them to that school. And you're right. Like there were plenty of nights where I just cried myself to sleep. Like, okay, we you got to get it together because he's got school tomorrow and you still got to take him.
Yeah.
So, having somebody there to really pull you up, is important, especially because in a lot of cases, Edie, I'm gonna tell you, you gotta be the person to step
Mhm.
outside your body and push yourself and
Yes.
stand in front of yourself and pull yourself. And I only
Yes.
know because I've been there.
Yes.
So there needs to be tons of Edie's cloned. Oh, let me watch that because we don't want AI cloning you.
I
We
know.
say that, and then they actually try to clone. That's not us, just figuratively speaking. She doesn't want to walk down the street and see 10 of her.
Right.
But we definitely need, more people like that in every, and I believe in every position. And I think I love how you build trust with them. You built an actual
Yeah.
relationship with them and
Yeah.
they know that you care.
Yes.
That's what matters. They know that you care. So you don't walk in, say hi and walk into the office and close your door and
No.
you're out mingling and talking. And
Yeah.
so I think that is another thing, is they not only did it build trust, but it built a lot of respect for you.
Yeah.
Like, she's here, she sees us, but she actually sees us.
Yes.
She sees us as people. So
Yes.
that is a phenomenal story. Good luck to her. And let there be more of those
Yeah.
to come. There's so many critics, right? There's all these critics that always say, I don't want it in my backyard. I don't want any homeless shelter. I don't want any homeless people, walking around in my backyard. If you could sit down with some of these critics, what would you want them to know?
I would want them to know what would be their alternative if they lost everything right now. If somebody hacked into your bank account and took every dime, stole your mortgage deed, broke into your car, what if you woke up and you lost everything? Where would you go? Where would you go? And I tell them that because, and I ask, individuals, close your eyes and imagine you not having anything but a newspaper and a bottled water, and that's it. And the temperature is below zero, and you have just lost your house, and they've just repoed your car, and you have no money in the bank, and your family members have closed the door and stopped answering your phone calls. Where would you go? Where would you go?
Being able to humble, because life can humble you very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Life can humble you very quickly, regardless of how much money you have. So, yes, that is a great question to ask those critics. Like, if that was to happen to you, where would you go?
Yeah.
And most of them, so many people so many people, in my opinion, just try to, act like it's only certain people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did they do? Well, why didn't they put it up? Well, who were they hanging? Or then it always becomes who they hang around and who they're associated with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times, some of the richest people
Yep.
can be so fraudulent, so they can have it's not specific to who you are or what you have. So yeah, that's a great question to ask anybody, any critic. Where is it that you want them to go? If you don't want the homeless shelter built near your neighborhood or in your community, okay, so then where are these people gonna go? And
Yeah.
if it was you, where would you go?
Where would you go?
Yeah, where would you go? Where would you stay? Okay, you don't have any money, so you can't go to a hotel room,
Right.
And in some cases, let's just talk about the cases where their identity is stolen.
Thank you.
You don't even have a way to prove who you are. So now where are you going?
Yeah.
And who's gonna believe you? Like, the only way that somebody would, you have to go to the dentist, I guess, because they say the dentist has our teeth records
or fingerprints
or fingerprint. If you've never worked for a bank, though, then the only other way you get a fingerprint is if you get booked at the jail, isn't it? Or no? I don't know. Well, when you're a baby, they fingerprint you when you're a baby, maybe. You got to prove in this day and time, if you ask for any records from anybody for you have to prove that that's you asking for the records.
Yes.
So if something happens where, your whole identity gets stolen, then what would you do? Because now, this guy over here is pretending to be you, and he's gone into the bank and he's just had his way with your money.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you said that and you posed that question, because there's so many people that they get, and then you get the people, and this is just my opinion, that at one point in time they were younger, and so they're working and they're trying to make it. Okay, so now they get their big break and their big blessing. And then they somehow forget that there was a time where you had to catch the bus because you didn't even have a car.
Yes.
Oh, so now you live in this $575,000 home or $2 million home, and now you've forgotten all about that. So I think it's important that people remember, okay, yeah, I'm here, I'm successful, but you weren't always that way. And some of the people, I'm not talking about people that were born into a family with money. I'm talking about the ones that had struggled. You had to work two jobs. You might have worked for Wendy's, McDonald's, White Castle, catching the bus, feet hurting, walking in the rain, walking in the snow. And then now you got all this money, and now, I don't want to see that. Somebody might not have wanted to see you walking to work when you had to walk,
I think they lose their sense of empathy. They forget, or they refuse to remember, those hard times. But, there's nothing wrong with remembering or reflecting back. It makes you, when you can reflect back, it makes you have a sense of humility for those individuals who are currently going through a situation that you were blessed to come out of. So it's not always, people say, well, I did it. But if you did not have the blessings of the Lord, and if you don't believe that, if you don't have a higher power that you believe in, and you think that you do all these abilities on your own, then, okay. I mean, that's possibly, I give that to you. However, there's always going to be a moment in time. See, everything goes up, but eventually some things come down.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And people don't realize that.
I mean, it's unfortunate, that some of the people, feel like, oh, that was back then, I don't have to think about that now, I'm past that. You should be thinking about it, because at any given time, you could easily go back. There's a motivational speaker that I love to listen to. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. His name is Eric, the hip hop preacher, and Eric Thomas. He's from Detroit, and he said in one of his speakings, he said, I still lay on the floor, because he was homeless at one point. He was homeless. He said he's sleeping in buildings, he was sleeping outside, and now he's very successful, right? And he said, I will still sleep on the floor. And he said, and I'll still even eat potato chips on the floor. He said, because at any given time, if I have to go back to it, if something happens and I went back there, it's not going to break me.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty powerful, because most people on his level wouldn't even think about something like that happening to them. It's the little things for me. For me, it's the little things. God, thank you for this car running. Thank you for getting me back and forth to work today, and without any accidents, and the car is still running. So, I think it is truly, something, and it's hard to listen to people. It's hard for me to listen to people or be around people who have that type of mentality that nothing's ever going to happen to me. I don't even want to be around them, because I don't want some weird invisible wind of energy that takes them down to be close. I don't want to be close to that. Because I need that wind to go that way and stay over there with you. Because I need the good wind that knows I'm appreciative of where I've come from. I'm never going to forget it. And I'm ready to move forward. So I try now, when people get talking like that, I'm like, okay, but let me go on the other side of this building, because something might happen to you right now, and I don't want to be there.
That's like, if lightning strike, I do not want to be close to you.
I don't want to be close to you, because I don't know. I just don't know how things will go. I don't want to be close to you. So that is, I'm glad you said that. That is very, it's powerful, to just make sure that people understand, that at any given time. It could be any of us for any reason. It doesn't have to do with race
Nothing.
or gender or how tall you are or how handsome you are or how pretty you
Yeah.
are or the neighborhood you came from or your grandma or your grandfather. None of that stuff. It doesn't discriminate.
No, it doesn't.
It
It
doesn't
does not.
discriminate at all.
No.
So in a field defined by hardship, right?
Mhm.
Where do you find the humor and the light? What was a moment of just pure, unexpected joy you've witnessed inside the shelter?
Man. I mean, just the team that the family team, of case managers. We have a team of case managers that work with the single adults, but the camaraderie and the family and the connection that I have built with my team of 4 case managers is so unique. And I truly believe that God put us together for a reason. We support each other, and we're able, even in the most difficult, when one has a difficult case, we're able to pull that case manager up and just act silly sometimes, and just have that laughter and say, you know what, we're in it to win it for these families. And we can act silly, and we have like pizza parties for each other and sing happy birthday to each other. That's how we lift each other up. So we are empowered even more to keep on going. That keeps us that is a moment of enlightenment. And I do that because that's what I was brought there to do. I tell my coworkers and I tell my case managers, God sent me there to Van Buren on a mission. I'm there on a mission. And when my mission is over, whenever he decides, he will remove me. But I had a moment of gratitude a year ago when the organization nominated me as a person who the most advocator that advocate for their clients. And you do your profession because you love doing it. And that touched my heart because I said, it's for one group, a small group to acknowledge you, but for an organization to say, you know what, out of the thousands of employees we have at the YMCA in Van Buren, we choose you collectively. That says something. That said something to my heart and said, you know what? I am in the right position. I have truly been called to do this. And by all means, I'll do it to the best level I can until I'm no longer there.
And that you're doing it out of you love doing it. It's your passion. It's something that's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I didn't know that. That is
Thank
awesome.
you.
I mean, it is. It's awesome. If there is any listener out there that may be considering, you know, whether or not this is some type of work or career that they would like to do, what advice would you give them, or what would you tell them? What was the time when before you started, how did you know how did you find your calling and know that this is where you wanted to be?
I and that's so ironic. Did you ask me that? Um, when people ask me that, social work fell on me. Social work fell on me. When I was in college, my psychology professor said social workers are not taught, they're not trained, they are born. You're born to be in this position. If you have a love for people and you love servitude and you love just getting right in there, that's the job for you. That is the position that God has placed you to be in. And it will find you. It will fall on you. You could be at the grocery store and someone might say, "Man, you need to be in a position of," and that's what it was. I fell into this position in Pittsburgh. Didn't have a degree or anything, and I began working in the courts, and then I began working as a victim's advocate for like 12 years. And then, worked with DV clients and children. And God, when He assigns you for something, He will take you in avenues and places that you never thought you would be in. And so, um, did I know it? No, I didn't know it. But when it fell on me, that was my moment where I said, you know what? This is a glove that fits very well in my life, and I'm going to wear it.
Definitely takes the right mindset, the right heart, the natural skill. That some of the stuff that you're doing every day, they couldn't teach you this stuff if you read it.
Right.
You could pass all the tests you want in college,
That's
but
it.
there's going to be, tons of situations that they wouldn't be able to teach you. They're not going to be able to teach you, how to handle some of these sensitive and critical situations that you come up on. So I just was curious because I've heard people, I'm gonna do social work, and I'm like, oh, okay. How does a person just, wake up and decide, I'm gonna do, social work. And so it's pretty phenomenal.
It's very difficult when you hear a lot of individuals who say, I'm going to do social work, and it's in a sense of grandeur, and it's no sense of grandeur because social work is pretty much next to being a teacher is the lowest paying job ever. But you can go into this field thinking about the money portion. You have to really be led by your heart, um, and something in your gut that says this is what you're meant to do, and the reward will come later on.
Absolutely. You can't be expecting the reward to be upfront.
Right.
Yeah, you just have to know. But in some instances, the reward you're getting is when people walk out of there and go get a job.
Yes. Yes.
Or they walk
Yes.
out of there and and they get a job, they get their own apartment, then they eventually get a house, and they come back and visit you, in their new car. I mean, I'm just guessing that
That's
right
it.
there is the reward. It's like, okay,
Yes.
yes, another
Yes.
family has
Yes.
succeeded. We
Yes.
have helped another family get
Yes.
back on their feet and stay on their feet.
That is our
So
reward.
yes, I
Mhm.
mean, that's what I would think. And don't get me wrong, of course, for your recognition that you had from the organization last year, but the rewards to me, in my opinion,
Yeah.
just from listening to you, come daily, daily and
Yes.
weekly when these people
Yes.
manage to turn their lives around.
Yeah.
That's part of the reward. Beyond a bed and a meal, what is the one thing your residents crave the most that, the general public never thinks to donate or provide?
Whew. There's so many different things. Um, I mean, clothing, things for babies. We have a lot of women that come in there and they're pregnant. Clothing for the babies when they're born, and they bring them back to the shelter. Um, just volunteer, time. We truly need someone who really has a profession with working with autistic children. We have we have experienced an overflow of children that are autistic, on the severe spectrum, verbal, nonverbal. And we have young parents who are 19 and 20-year-olds. And we truly need a service that would be able to teach these individuals how to work with their children. Children doesn't come with a handbook, but truly they're not going to get a handbook when, unfortunately, when your child is autistic. And so, things like that, just those those trainings, and people that can come in support groups and things like that. If you can teach a person to fish, they'll fish and they'll eat for a lifetime. And so when you can teach them to do these different things, it's fantastic.
It is. It is. And I know all too well about working with autistic children. In my field. So I work at a all children's haircutting place, a place where it's just children that come to get their haircut. And I was actually blown away. It'll be 2 years that I've been there in July. My first week there, 9 times out of 10, each child that I serviced had autism.
Yes.
No one ever, I literally had to learn, because the parents are frustrated, the parents are ready to give up. There are so many barbers and stylists who do not have the mentality or the patience, to deal with the children as they're cutting their hair. So I'm sure that trying to find a professional to come in and work with them. Now, do some of the families qualify for some of the therapy that the autistic kids are able to get?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But with therapy, that's one piece. But then, the parents are still left to deal with the behavior part. And so, once they leave that professional setting, then they go back home. And what does the parent have to do? If the parent doesn't know why, my kids is doing this and my kids is running around and and why, and they become frustrated because they don't know what to do and they don't understand what's going on with their child. So they're dealing with a lot of guilt, frustration, anger, and all these emotions that go along with it. And then, they're like, this is my baby. I don't know how to help them.
The parents need the training to be able to know how to, and I hope and pray that you find a professional. They're definitely needed at the shelter, but I'll tell you, working at the place that I'm at, there are some parents that they need to be educated as well. Because we're talking, they just truly don't know what to do. Like it's almost as if they've given up on their child. The child literally is, they're running back and forth. They just don't know what to do. They're lost. And me not being licensed, I can only make suggestions. Ma'am, you letting him run back and forth for 15 minutes is still not going to get the haircut done. You know what I mean? And so, I've been in this business, and I remember working with a mother who she brought her son, and I think he may have been 7 or 8. And I don't even know. I asked her how often she shampooed his hair, and she said not very often. And she said, it's hard for me. I can't give him a bath but once a week because he doesn't like the way the water feels. So things like that, there has to be some sort of resource, and I'll do some digging, to be able to get help out to these parents, to teach them and to educate them, because it's an ongoing job from day to night. Verbal, nonverbal, it's an ongoing. I am grateful that the kids that have been coming to me have turned a corner. Some of them are, and it's easier, but there are so many you know, more children out there and more parents that live frustrating lives because they don't know what to do. And, lifelong friendships is what it sounds like
Yes.
to me. So that is phenomenal, and they don't know who to call. So hopefully we can, try to find, I'll ask around and, try to get some resources as well to see if we can find a professional that's willing to donate their time to come in to just educate the parents, because that's where it's going to start,
Yeah.
How can for the listeners and people, how can they, what can you give them the address and any email if they want to donate or if they would like to volunteer?
They can actually reach out to, for those who want to donate and volunteer, they can reach out to Sarah Trott, and she is at the Van Buren Family Shelter at 595 Van Buren Drive, and that's Columbus, Ohio 43223. And they can always reach her or leave her voice messages at 614-689-2020. And she is our employment and community resource coordinator.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So that hopefully, if there are some people who feel like they have the skill or the education, or they just want to donate clothes for babies or something for the pregnant moms, or their time, then they will be able to reach out to a Sarah Trott. So Edie, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I learned a lot tonight, and I'm sure my listeners did too. We are grateful for your service and everything that you have done for the community. And we look forward to hearing more about the things that you're doing and uplifting the people and making sure that people's lives continue to be changed. Because it really is important, that people understand that having someone that is there that really cares and sees them, is important. And I definitely know and believe that is you. You are definitely doing what you are supposed to be doing. You are not supposed to be doing anything else. No corporate, no paralegal. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So we are grateful and thankful for you and all of your service.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. That is the end of our show today. People, if you have any questions about the show, you can reach out to me at healthyhairbydon@gmail.com. Thank you all for listening. Be well, be at peace, be inspired, stay inspired, and pass the inspiration along to someone else.
We on air now. Real life, real laughs, real sound. You found your place, you home now. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Oh yeah. Big dreams in a small room, light so warm. Turn a quiet little thought to a lightning storm. From the winds to the wounds, we gon' say it plain. If you ever felt alone, you can say my name. I'm your friend in the phone when the day feel long. Little guy, little grin, little heart in a song. Hit play, let the world fade far outside. Every word, every beat, keep you right in stride. We on air now, turn it up, sit back, vibe out. New day, new talk, no doubt. Welcome to the show, welcome to the show.